Like I said in my previous videos, when I'm struggling with my depression, my husband takes care of the house, so I can do the bare minimum. And as you can see, he's mopping our floors. Hey, hello, bonjour. My name is S.h.e.r.i.s, and welcome to my channel. And on my channel, I focus mainly on mental health. And in today's video, I clean out our fridges, the mini fridge and then the big fridge. So hang out with me. Easy. Nasty. Nasty. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my depression story and when I remember it started. I remember being about 10 years old and I was outside and I remember feeling just unbelievably sad and lonely. And I remember thinking that I just wanted a friend, someone to play with. And I remember that this feeling lasted for days and I was really moody. I had mood swings. And to be honest with you, everyone around me didn't know or understand exactly what was going on with me, even me, so I don't blame anybody. And also a side note is that we've had this mini fridge for about maybe 2-3 years, and the shelves were wrong the entire time.
I think that's how it was supposed to be.
Yeah, stupid. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to edit this voice over, so bear with me. So as a 10-year-old, how I coped with this sad, lonely feeling is I created a fantasy world. Or I disassociated or something like that. Whatever. I don't exactly know. I can't diagnose myself, but from what I understand, that's pretty much what it was. But in this fantasy, I had a lot of friends and a big family. I was somewhat of an important person. I was really popular and I was married and I had kids. Now, my reality was opposite my fantasy, obviously. So in my reality, I had a hard time making friends. I've actually only had one best friend throughout my life, and I remember this was around the time that she moved away. And I also remember continually having these fantasies until I met my husband. And I met my husband when I was 19. And so we got engaged and pregnant pretty quickly. And then my fantasy became my reality. My husband also has a big family and lots of siblings. And this family welcomed me with open arms and made me feel special and included in everything. And my husband's family also invited me to like Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner, birthday parties and such, their vacations. And so because of that, the fantasy world ended, basically.
You know, it hurts my heart, Kyle, right? Right?
That hurts my heart.
Yeah, it hurts my heart, Kyle.
So I never went back to the fantasy world after that, but I did go through postpartum depression after I had all of my kids, actually. I was going to say just my first, but I actually went through postpartum depression after all of my kids. But throughout the years, I have been diagnosed with many different types of depression, not all at once, but there was a lot of like misdiagnosis and such. And also just a quick side note, my youngest son wanted to come see what I was doing, so I'm explaining it to him.
Yeah. Organizing the water. I'm putting them in here. I also cleaned it.
Wow.
Yeah.
This little thing here, he won this at an arcade with those little claw machines.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the misdiagnosis. So first I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and that was obviously true. But when my depression continued after having kids, like a couple years later, I was diagnosed with seasonal depression. So, you know, get sad in the winter, happy in the spring, summer, whatever. And that didn't seem to be really correlating with my symptoms. So then I got diagnosed with situational depression, which is where like something happens and then, I don't know, a week later you get upset about that situation or get really depressed about it. And that didn't also correlate with my symptoms. And then I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And I felt like it lasted a lot longer than 3 weeks. That's all I got for right now.
What do you got?
Wait a minute.
What's that?
Some meats in here.
Fill her up a little bit. Ow, ow, ow. My elbow. My elbow.
And with major depressive disorder, the symptoms will last for more than 2 weeks, less than 4, but it varies because some people say it lasts 6 weeks for them. And my symptoms lasted what I felt like was months. And I also felt like I was maybe a high functioning depressed person because my symptoms were pretty mild and I was still able to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do.
We're gonna clean up my fridge.
And another symptom I notice while I'm going through my depression is that I could be mildly depressed for about 2 or 3 months and then fall into a deep depression. And what happens to me when I go through this deep depression is that I have a hard time with basic self-care, showering, changing my clothes, and I also have a hard time with sleep, staying asleep or falling asleep. And I also have a hard time with eating.
I'm just gonna play some music because, you know,
Ooh.
but I'll turn it off. I'll make sure that I mute the background or whatever, you know, thing.
Or I should say, I have a harder time eating because a lot of people know that I already have a hard time eating as is. And I'm also going to let you know that everyone experiences depressive symptoms differently. And another one of the symptoms that I experience is memory loss, especially when I'm going through double depression. It's literally one of the most annoying symptoms that I have when I'm going through double depression. And it's not that I don't know who I am during these times. It's just that I forget little things and it's super irritating. Like, for example, I wanted to have a chicken sandwich with cheese and I forgot what I wanted to put in it. For the life of me, I couldn't remember, so I just ate a plain chicken sandwich. And then I remembered after I was finished, like, I wanted to put cheese in it. That's so stupid. And another example. I made a dentist appointment when I wasn't depressed. And then I fell into a double depression, and then my appointment happened, and then the dentist place called me and told me that I had an appointment on this day. And I could not remember making that appointment, why I needed that appointment. So then they explained to me when I called and why I called, and I still didn't remember. And then when I came out of my depression, I started to remember making that appointment and the conversation that I had when making that appointment. I started to remember the day that we made the appointment for and the reason why I made the appointment. So when I go through double depression, I have memory loss, and that's one of my symptoms, and I'm not ashamed about it. Kind of annoyed with it, but not ashamed of it. And the next symptom I'm going to be talking to you about is one of the most ugliest symptoms that I have. So a fair trigger warning, I do talk about suicide ideation.
I don't want to cry right now. I don't want to cry over this all. It's gonna make me cry. It's gonna make me cry. It's gonna make me cry. Okay. It's gonna make me cry too. Okay. Oh, this is gonna empower me.
When I go through double depression and it gets really bad, I start to have suicidal thoughts. I start fantasizing about my death. I start fantasizing about how I'm going to do it. I start fantasizing about my funeral. And when I get to that point, I will continue to reach out for help. I will speak to my husband and I will speak to people that are close to me and people that I trust. I do have an amazing support system and I do work in the mental health field, so I do know how to handle myself in these kinds of situations. Also, a side note that this was filmed around March and I hadn't cleaned out my fridge since before Christmas. Enjoy the real life mess. Actually, my fridge has been worse before. It's been way worse before. There was a time when we had to keep raw animal parts in here. Deer parts, just to be specific. So just imagine opening up a bloody ass fridge and you're like, I just wanted a sandwich. But anyway, as I was saying, the suicidal thoughts symptom is one of the most ugliest symptoms that I have, and I will continue to fight against it. My husband smokes occasional cigarettes, but I don't smoke at all. So I'm pretty sure this was my mom's cigarette from January or whenever. My husband bought me a new cleaning gadget, so perfect opportunity to use it. And I forgot to charge my hand vac. So the reason I look annoyed is because it died on me when I wanted to use it for the first time, but I forgot to charge it. So didn't get to play around with it that time.
Pocket.
Okay, now, so I'm going to explain to you how I got my diagnosis for persistent depressive disorder. And also bear with me because I'm trying to do this whole voiceover in one shot. My son is quiet right now and I don't want him screaming at you. I don't think anybody wants that. But anyway, so what I did to get my diagnosis for persistent depressive disorder, I will tell you that it was not easy. And it took over a year. So one of the first things I did was I got a mood tracker. You can get them off Amazon. There's a bunch of different kinds, but mine had like you can just check mark off certain feelings, or it was really small, really short. It wasn't time consuming. It wasn't hard to keep up with either. So there was like how you're feeling in the morning, how you're feeling in the afternoon, how you're feeling in the evening. And then also a mood, a diary, or a journal. And what it does is it asks you questions, daily questions that you can answer. And so what I did was, after over a year of tracking my mood, I took my diary and my mood tracker to my psychiatrist, and that was where I got a formal diagnosis for persistent depressive disorder. Now, I was also offered medication, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, and I also will disclose that I do not want to be on any kind of medication. It never worked for me in the past, and I just don't want to be on it because I became an addict to pills before, and I became extremely dependent on it, and I don't want to go back there. But I don't want you to take what I'm saying as something for you. We all work differently, and we deal with things differently, and sometimes medication can be really, really beneficial to you or others. Now, I do a lot of things to help me through living with depression. And some of the things are, I wake up and one of the first things I do is I pray. I pray for myself. I pray for my day. I pray for everybody around me. And then I also do yoga, even if it's just for like 10 minutes a day. Anyway, nice clean fridge. See? Pretty. Not pretty. But yeah, also, look at all those fingerprints on it. Not that pretty. Like I said, I also have a really good support system. So I will reach out when I feel like things are getting too overwhelming for me. I will also go to a ceremony, and which is something that I enjoy even when I'm not depressed. And me and my family, we like to do things together. So we'll go on like low budget adventures. If, we can't be very far from our house because we have young kids, we will just go for a drive. And also we'll like to do things together. Like we'll paint together. We'll, roast marshmallows outside. So we don't do a lot of things that require a lot of work, that are overwhelming, and we do things that are easy peasy, budget friendly. But anyway, we are getting close to the end of the video. I just want to say thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through and didn't skip, yada, yada, yada. I see that a lot. But anyway, I also want to let you know that if you ever feel overwhelmed with your feelings, don't be afraid to reach out, okay? I did the best I could to do this voiceover in one shot, but I obviously was interrupted a whole bunch of times. I have 3 kids. I'm a mom and I'm busy. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, in the next video, I'm going to be cleaning out my closet. So I hope you join me. But I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye. And truthfully speaking, I do not have a film crew or anybody to film for me. I film for myself. So this is the reality of what I actually do.